Hello everyone, welcome to SAP Technomaniac. In this video, we are going to discuss different deployment options of OData in SAP. Let's get started. Today programming, what we have to do, we have to expose SAP business data to the outer world. The user can consume the data in the browser. If they want to consume in the mobile devices, they can consume in the mobile as well. In mobile also, we have Android and iOS as well. And if some of the user want to analyze the data, they want to consume the data in Excel format. The problem is that we have to expose same data in different formats, and we have to do the different development for each to create each and every format. So there will be the multiple point-to-point solution. For doing the browser display, we are creating something. For putting the data in Excel, we are creating the something else. So in that way, we have to do different development. What is the drawbacks? A lot of development efforts required. Obviously, you have to do different things for the different set of solutions. And obviously, if you do the more development, you create more services, then it will increase the cost. And landscape also become more complex. Same data, now we have to send the Excel, no, if else we have to send there, else we have to send there, we have to put lot if else conditions, and based on that, not only that, coding complexity increase, the increase of the landscape complexity also increase. You can see the jargons between here if we consume the same data in the different places. Not only that, if once we have created, if you want to scale further, it's very difficult in this particular environment and very difficult to maintain as well. There will be a lot of costs required. To overcome this situation, what SAP did, SAP have already SAP Network Gateway. We already know the gateway is useful to interact with the outer world. But inside that gateway, in the latest version of the gateway, what they did after 7.3 and onwards, they have put some of the add-ons. Using those add-ons, we can create the OData services. That OData services can be consumed across the technologies. If you want to display that will, what is the use of the OData service? That will just expose the data. I have showed you how it will be visible. Once we expose the data, irrespective of the programming of the front end, irrespective you are consuming in Excel, you want to display the data in Excel, or you want to display in the data some tablet or mobile device or PC or in browser, anywhere you can display. Once they can consume that data service. When they got the data, whatever the way format they want, they can access that data. So that is the advantage of the OData. Over previously, when we were not using this SAP Network Gateway add-ons, now we are using SAP Network Gateway add-on. Gateway was previously there, but these add-ons were not available to create the OData service. So what all are these add-ons? In the SAP Network Gateway, if we add these 4 add-ons, then we can create the OData service and we can register as well. So basically, these are the 4 add-ons are there. One is the GW_core. It is OData libraries, and second is the IWFND. We call it the foundation as well. It will give us the runtime environment and metadata store and shared services. And third is the IWBEP, business enablement provisioning. It will help us to create the OData service, develop the OData service. And fourth is the IWHDB. If your version is 7.5 and above, you are working on HANA, this particular IWHDB will be available to enable the exposure to HANA views. So these are the mainly 4 components. If you have in your system, you can create the OData service. So these 4 component again depends upon where you can develop your service and where you can expose and maintain your service, or you can see the logs and other things. So if this 2 particular component, GW_core and IW_FND, is installed in your system, then you can register and maintain OData service in that particular system. And if this particular component is installed in your system, IW_BEP, then you can develop the OData service there. This is applicable only if your system version is below 7.4. Then only you require these three components in your system. Where you can see this component, I will show you. Meanwhile, if your system version 7.4 and above, then you should have only one component, that is called SAP underscore GW underscore FND. This component itself contains all the four components which will help you to develop and register this particular OData service. So to see in the system where we can see these components, if you go to the system, if your backend system means if you're working on SAP Network 7.4 and below, you have to go to the system and status. You can see inside the status we can have this kind of button, this button. You can see magnifying glass button. Once you click on that, you can see all the components, netware components available in your system and what is the version of that particular. So in this case, you can see IW underscore BEP backend enable backend event provider. You can say it will help, this particular component, as I told you, will help us to create OData service. So in this case, if this particular component is available in your system, there you can create the OData service. For creating the OData service, we need one particular T code. I'm just telling SEGW. We will discuss more about this one. SEGW T code only will be available if you have this particular IW underscore BEP component in your system. If basis they have installed this particular add-on, then only you can see SEGW T code. So this T code help us to create the OData service, develop the OData service. Then other two components that should be there to maintain the OData service and to expose that OData service to the outer world. So that is another two component, as I told you. One is the ZW underscore core and second is the IW underscore FND. That should be available to there. If these two components are not available, again these components will provide a specific list of T codes. For example, /IWFND /ment underscore service, that will help us to maintain the service and see the services and test those services, those kind of to display the services, those kind of functionality will be given by this particular components. So this will help us to register and maintain the service in the system if these two components are available. If your version 7.4 is 4 and above, no need to worry. You need only one component, SAP underscore ZWFND. You can do both the things. So in one of the system I was there in the back, I can see this component, then I can develop my OData service. In some of the system, if you have version this component SAP underscore GW underscore FND, it will give us all four components. I can develop in this system the OData service, I can register my OData service, and I can do all the things within one system itself if this component is available. Which is component? SAP underscore ZW underscore FND. Based on this component is installed in the system, we can create different kind of landscape, different kind of the landscape in our SAP. So what I mean by the landscape, this is we call also deployment options, OData deployment options also we call. So there are two kind of deployment options based on this add-ons you will add in your system. One is the central hub deployment and second is the embedded deployment. We will see first overview of both the deployment. Suppose this particular component IW underscore BEP is installed in SAP Business Suite or your backend system. Your backend system can be any system like ECC, CRM, SRM, BW. What all are the system you are having in your SAP Business Suite? This contain these all different systems. In those systems, if you have this particular IW underscore BEP component, then you can create your service implementation. You can do that. Means that SEGW, that particular T code will be available. You can create your OData service there. And in this OData, this is called the central hub deployment options. In this central hub deployment options, we will create the OData service in one place, and we will register that OData service in another place, that is called SAP Gateway Hub system. That will be the separate system where from the other system where we are developing our OData service. This will be the different system where we need these two components, GW underscore core or IW underscore FND component. We will be needing to register our services in the system. So you can see this particular two component, if it is installed, then you can register their service and maintain that over there. This is called SAP Gateway Hub system. But if these three components, we don't have the separate system for that. In this case, you can see this is the one, these are the SAP, this is the one ECC system, this can be CRM system where we are developing our services, and this is the one, another separate system. If we are developing the services in one system and registering that services within the same system and maintaining that itself, then this is called embedded deployment. This is called central hub deployment, and this is called embedded deployment. We are not having the separate system to maintain the OData services. Within this one system, we are doing everything, that it can be ECC or it can be BW, it can be SRM, CRM, any system we are doing within the one system. Here, what is the advantage we will discuss later point of time. Just I want to explain first what is the central hub deployment and what is this embedded deployment. This you component based on if your version is below, SAP NetWeaver version is below 7.4. If you are having more version, then the one component is enough. If you have different system also, then if SAP underscore ZW underscore FND is there, it will give you us 4 component. Whatever you want to do, you can do. But again, depends upon you what actually you are doing. You are creating the service in one system, means you are developing the implementing your service in one system, and or you are registering service in another system or maintaining another system, then it will become the central hub deployment, and you are doing both the things in within one system, then it will become embedded deployment options. Again, in the central hub deployment also we have the two flavor. Suppose this is the first flavor. First, before going to that, what we will see what is the advantage of the central hub deployment and what is the disadvantage of the embedded deployment. If you are doing the central hub deployment, means you are doing one place all the coding part and another place or registering, and you have the different system for the gateway hub where you are maintaining the service maintenance and registering your service. There is the different system. What is the advantage over there? First advantage is routing and composition of multiple system is supported. Means we can have one central space where we are going to register all the services from one central. Means in this case, what can be the possibility? In this system, whatever we are registering service, this can be come from the ECC, this can be come from the CRM, this can be come from the SRM, BW, any system it can come. Means we are developing the services in the different systems, and finally we are registering those services in one central system, that is called the gateway hub system. So this is the routing and composition of multiple. If you want to get the data from the different system to the different services, then we want to combine that, we can do using the SAP Gateway Hub. So in this case, we have dedicated SAP Gateway Foundation content is available. Means in this, suppose in Fiori word, if you have to develop some content which should be visible throughout your company. For example, you have the look and feel of your website, how it should be look and feel, what will be the color, irrespective of whatever the data I'm displaying. So those kind of things, common things you can do in the central hub, this in your SAP Gateway Hub system itself. So in this case, there will be the content will be common for all the other your backend business systems like ECC, CRM, SRM. All the content will be the common. It will decouple life cycle consumer application from the SAP Business Suite system. Means, as you know, your versioning, if you go for the versioning, ECC upgrade we do very rarely, but if you go to Fiori side, there is a lot of upgrades are coming, lot of new components they are adding. There are a lot of enhancement, day-to-day enhancement in the front end side is more than the later version. If you see in your Fiori versions and UI5 versions, they are more frequently changing than your backend version. So in this case, in the both the components are separate, then you can do the enhancement or upgradations independent of each other. That is the advantage of having the central hub system or SAP Central Hub Deployment or SAP Gateway Hub as a separate system. And there will be the single point of access to this particular, if you have multiple system, you have the single point of contact for your front end service to get the data, irrespective which system you are getting the data from, ECC, SRM or CRM, wherever you are getting the data, you will be having the single point of contact. And the security, obviously it will be enhanced. You are not directly exposing your backend system to the front end services. And in this case, you have some layer, you have some gateway hub system that is controlling your everything, security and all. Then you are exposing the data from backend. So you have one additional layer of security in between there. So that is one of the REST principle, as we discussed in my previous videos. We have the layered system. So in front end OData service, they don't know they are directly talking to your server or not. In between there is some other layer is there that will become our SAP Gateway Hub system. There is a more security. Independent of innovation, speed of gateway foundation and concept. This is again, there will be the you can do the upgradation separately here. There will be no dependency on each other. That is very important thing. But in embedded deployment, what is the advantage? In central hub system, since we have the additional system, so there will be some overhead to communicate between these two systems. We have some RFC calls and all. So we will be having some. It will be not faster as much as if you are creating and maintaining service there itself, and you are creating the service there and maintaining also there. Then there will be direct communication to your front end services. Directly they can communicate to your backend system, like directly to ECC or directly to CRM, directly to SRM. There will be nothing will be the in between. So less runtime overhead will be. One remote call is reduced. We don't have the remote RFC call will be not there. No additional separate SAP Gateway founder. We no need to maintain one additional system to do this all the things. So obviously we will be have to pay less money to maintain one more system. Lower cost will be there. But the innovation, what is the disadvantage if you do the embedded system? The disadvantage obviously that we have. If we have to the innovation speed of SAP Gateway Foundation and SAP Business Suite need to be synchronized. We can't update our backend component or front end component independent of each other. So that's a very important thing. And suppose some Fiori, we can't have the latest Fiori version along with our latest, because we have to improve our gateway also along with our Fiori innovation. So we can't synchronize these all the things. So cross system composition is not possible. What I mean by the core cross system, if you doing the service implementation here itself, so this will be in your ECC system. You have to deploy your service here, and in another system also you have to deploy their service. We don't have this. We can't get the data from the multiple system and merge and display is a display to the front end. So we have the separate system over there. So cross system composition, we can't combine the data. Composition is not possible. And central SAP Gateway Foundation content is not available, and content specific to SAP Business Suite is used to SAP Business Suite systems. So obviously we will be not having the multiple system data, and we will be not having one central point where the front end services can talk. They have to talk different system to get the data differently. So that's again the embedded deployment disadvantage. Again, one more thing I want to tell. These are the two flavor of the deploy, how your system should be deployed. Most of the time, if you're working in ABAP, most of the time you will see you will be having the gateway hub system separately. But some of the companies, they are using as a embedded. If they have a smaller company, or they don't want to maintain the extra system, they are using this kind of. But this is the better approach. But in this also, there is two flavor. Now, first is, if we are developing, suppose development is done in the gateway. Sometime it is possible we can do the development of our gateway services in the gateway hub system, irrespective of the data. We are maintaining the extra system. No, we have the gateway hub system. This is also central hub deployment. But instead of developing our service implementation, we are developing our services in backend system, ECC or CRM. We are doing the development in the SAP Gateway's hub system itself. But what is the disadvantage of that? We don't have all the DDIC types or RFC types. We have to create all the data types here separately, and then we have to call one RFC. How to call the data from backend? Either we have to call RFC function module, or something business objects, BAPIs are there to get the data from the backend. So, and then we can utilize the data here. Then those structures should be created here separately. That is again disadvantage over there. So best option is this one. Or most of the companies wherever I work, I saw this kind of system only. But some of the companies, they create the RFC in the backend system, and we call that RFC function module in our gateway hub system to deploy that particular to create the OData service. And basically, if you are aware about the SEGW, we will come once again when we discuss the SEGW T code and IWFND service maintenance T code. So basically what we are doing, we are running the SEGW here itself in gateway system, and maintaining service in the gateway system instead of creating the SEGW in backend system. So in that, what is the disadvantage? Obviously, data will be not available, means those DDIC structures and all the things will be not available in this system. We have to create the separately there and separately in this system. So that is very difficult to do. Somewhere I saw some of the companies, they are doing this, like they are creating the RFC function module and just they are creating the SEGW in the gateway hub system instead of creating the backend system. So this is another flavor of, this is also called central hub deployment only, because they have to maintain one extra system, one gateway system. But instead of developing their services in the backend system, they are developing their services in the gateway hub system itself, and they are using the RFCs and BAPIs to get the data. Again, we can't call the classes here from here to here. We have to develop our classes here itself. So there are something called MPC and DPC classes. You can see service implementations. When we do the development, we are using the model provider class, data provider class. We are going to discuss this SEGW inside the SEGW T code. But this is before going to those kind of things, we should know where actually we are working on. If we are doing the development in SAP Gateway Hub system, then definitely it is the central hub deployment. And if you are doing wherever you are day to day, you are working in ECC system, there only you are creating services and registering services. That is your embedded system, embedded deployment system, we can say. I have something else. Oh, what is the advantage? Obviously, if you are doing, if you are having that kind of scenario, instead of doing this scenario, again I'm telling this, I put below 7.3 these components based on the below 7.3. If you have below 7.4, if you have 7.4 or more above, there is only one component is needed here instead of multiple components. Okay, so in this case, again you can see in this, what is the disadvantage of this particular things? Access the limited to remote enable interface. So we have to call the RFC here, either using the BAPI we have to use, or some BOR object we have to use, or RFC function we have to use. We can't call the classes from one system to another system, obviously. So we have to create the RFCs and BAPIs here, and then those RFCs and BAPIs we have to call in the system if you are using this kind of central hub deployment system. Classes we can't access remotely, obviously. Additional servers needed for gateway, and no direct local access to metadata. Metadata means DDIC objects and business data in the service implementation. This means that reuse of data limited to remote access is mentioned above. So we can't reuse a lot of data here. We have to create separately here and separately metadata here. to consume those particular RFC here. Obviously, RFC, that if you're consuming here, those kind of metadata should be available. DDIC structure should be available to store those data and all. We have to create separately. That is very, again, disadvantage. We will see these kind of things in system as well, but this kind of, most of the time, this kind of central hub deployment is not there. But this is the very good approach to do the central hub deployment, where you are developing your service in the backend system and you are just registering or maintaining your service in the front end system. I discussed one point in my previous slide, like that cross system composition is not possible. I will put more effort on this one. What I want to tell exactly, that suppose you are working in your ECC system, you are developing your service in ECC system, and your ECC system acting as an embedded system, because you are not only you are developing the service in the ECC system, you are registering that service and maintaining that service in ECC system also. So for ECC, it become a embedded deployment. But for other systems, CRM, SRM, or BW, what all are the other systems are available in your company, you using this ECC system as a hub system or gateway hub system, and they are developing their services, their system, and they registering those services in ECC system. This kind of deployment also possible. But this kind of deployment is not recommended by SAP. Why? Because suppose you want to, currently your ECC system is acting as a hub system for other system. So you want to upgrade your ECC system. Suppose it is currently based on 7.31. You want to upgrade on latest version 7.4 or 7. Some other latest version. It might be possibility that your latest version of gateway gateway system is not compatible with your CRM system, CRM gateway components. So you will be not able to upgrade your ECC system. First, you have to upgrade your CRM system, then only you have to upgrade your ECC system. There will be a lot of interdependency between your ECC and CRM system. To avoid those interdependency, you have to use your ECC and CRM as a embedded both separately, or you have to create your own hub system, and there you have to register your all services. So this is the one of the deployment options. We saw most of the deployment options. Apart from these deployment options, if you see something else is available, or you are using some other deployment options, please write it down in a comment section, so I will also get to know what else can be possible. With that, I think we have done with this video. Please like this video, share these videos with others as well, so they can also learn. With that, thank you and happy learning.